This is Congressman Shri Thanedar. Donald Trump has already done real damage to our democracy, but defying a unanimous 9-0 Supreme Court ruling, that has to be the final straw. It's time we impeach Donald J. Trump.
Democrats are out of ideas. Congressman Shri Thanedar is impeaching. Yep. And the more we learn about Shri, the weirder it gets. Shri owned a pharmaceutical lab that ran tests on dogs and monkeys. A whistleblower accused Shri of hiding that some of the herbal supplements he tested were spiked with Viagra. His company went bankrupt, and over 100 beagles were stranded inside a lab. Volunteers rescued them.
We believe that they have never been outside ever.
I don't think that they've actually had their paws on the grass. When I walked in here, it looked like they were walking on eggshells. They were kind of afraid to walk on the grass.
Shri is a strange guy with a shady past. If I were him, I'd be laying low. But there's no leadership in the party, so guys like Shri can steal the spotlight. But Democrats say Republicans are the weirdos.
Boy. So we got to talk about more infighting in the Democrat Party, okay? This party is becoming more and more of an embarrassment with each and every passing day. And today we got to talk about Shri Thanedar, the woke, deranged Democrat that has decided to try to impeach President Trump, right? However, this guy apparently lied to his colleagues about his intentions when it comes to impeaching President Trump, in the sense that he pretended like he had more support for impeaching the president than he actually had. And this story does not surprise me at all, because I've been telling you guys over the last few days, one of the dumbest ideas that have come out of the Democrat Party is trying to impeach the president right now, right? Trying to make the midterms about impeachment. It is a really dumb idea. And this story basically confirms my hypothesis, because this news is very humiliating for this House Democrat. And he is a laughingstock, right? People are currently roasting this clown for trying to impeach the president just 2 to 3 months into his administration.
Today they did it again. Some guy that I'd never heard of. John James, is he a congressman, this guy? He said, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to start the impeachment of Donald Trump. What the hell did I do? Here we go again. They want to impeach me. This lunatic, he was up. Actually, I had the television way down, and I said to our great First Lady, listen, did I just hear I was being impeached again?
Children who allegedly are American citizens who were deported. They were not deported. Their mothers were deported, and because their mothers are not sociopaths, they chose to take their children with them rather than calling up and finding someone else to take their 2-year-old children. So all of these supposedly liminal cases are actually nothing of the sort. There has been no constitutional crisis. This congressman seems to think that having bad polling numbers is an impeachable offense, is somehow a high crime and misdemeanor. It is utterly laughable, and it's because the Democrats have no agenda. Donald Trump is running to the left of them on economics and to the left of them on fighting wars and being anti-war and trying to get us out of different things and trying to settle wars. And he is a social moderate. He's not even a conservative. There is not a single value that the Democrats hold that they are not willing to immediately abandon if Donald Trump starts to defend it. It was the Democrats who thought that we had to control the border to protect working class wages. And now all you see is Democrats out there demanding free trade and demanding more access to China. You see Democrats literally sharing Chinese propaganda because it's against Trump. They have chosen China over their own working class voters. And Congressman, I'm sorry, but the UAW and the Teamsters have both endorsed the tariffs. You're in a lot of trouble in Michigan.
But, you know, finally, we've also got, it's 100 days, and of course that means someone's trying to impeach Donald Trump. Democrat Congressman Shri Thanedar has filed 7 impeachment articles against the president, saying we do not have kings, we have presidents, and there is a reason why. The activities of this president are unconstitutional. The activities of the president, he has no regard for democracy. Well, Okay, fine. I mean, this just sounds like what we normally hear on MSNBC. But this Thanedar guy is also a fairly strange character with a history involving a failed medical research company and allegations of animal cruelty. I'm just not quite sure he's the public face of who the Democrats want leading the charge against Donald Trump here. What do you think, Mick?
Yeah, if you want to go have a good giggle, find his speech on YouTube. It really is. It's bizarre. But anyway, James, just I don't know if you know this or not. He was actually able to convince a couple of the Democrats to co-sponsor that motion with him, and then they took their names off of the bill. I know that sounds like it's deep in the weeds, and probably it is. But there's nothing more insulting in Washington, D.C., in the House of Representatives, to have someone put their name on your bill as a supporter and then pull it off. That's how toxic this individual is. Even his own Democrat colleagues are running away from him in public. So, yeah, I don't expect this particular impeachment motion to get very far.
Yeah, no, it doesn't sound like it's going too far at all. Mick Mulvaney, thanks as always for joining me. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, so this guy is a complete and total embarrassment. Such a complete and total embarrassment that even Democrats that co-sponsored the legislation to impeach Trump say, I'm backing away from this guy, right? I'm backing away. And one of the reasons why is because apparently this dude was not honest about whether or not leadership supported the impeachment effort, right? Because leadership has to be on board with it, or else it doesn't have a chance of actually going anywhere. I mean, regardless of whether or not Democrat leadership, Hakeem Jeffries, gets on board with this effort, right? It's still not going anywhere. But it's just funny how the Democrats are turning against this guy because him trying to impeach the president so publicly reflects on the Democrats, right? And Democrats understand, at least the smart Democrats understand, that trying to run on impeaching the president is a really, really, really dumb idea. So let's read here. Representative Shri Thanedar, Democrat of Michigan, has set off an internal fervor among House Democrats with his unsanctioned efforts to impeach President Trump, Axios has learned. In addition to many House Democrats seeing the push as both premature and counterproductive, some are also chafing at Thanedar's tactics in drumming up support for his impeachment articles. 4 House Democrats who were briefly listed as co-sponsors have all since withdrawn, with some saying they wrongly believed leadership was supporting the measure. Sources told Axios that Thanedar also signed at least one colleague on as a co-sponsor based on a vague one-on-one conversation without notifying their staff. Yeah, so this dude was out here tricking Democrats into co-sponsoring this piece of legislation, right? And at least in one instance, he signed for a colleague based off a conversation that really did not come to an agreement that, hey, we should be doing this, right? That I support this effort. Thanedar announced Monday that he was introducing 7 articles of impeachment against Trump. The charges against Trump include obstruction of justice, abuse of power, bribery, and corruption, and tyranny, mostly based on the president's iron-fisted consolidation of power in his second term. His announcement came just hours after Thanedar drew a primary challenge from State Rep. Donovan McKinney as part of persistent efforts by Democrats in his district to oust him. Yeah, so this dude is facing a primary challenge in his own district, okay, from a Democrat. And one of the reasons why he's doing this, right, this effort to try to impeach Trump is to save himself in his own district, right? Because Democrats are trying to oust this guy, right? So, yo, this story is so funny. Okay, it all makes sense now, right? It all makes sense why this dude is doing this, right? He's trying to save his own career by engaging in the timeless grift of Trump derangement, right? Let me impeach the president. Let's lead the impeachment against the president in order for him to try to raise money from these silly people who want to impeach the president, right? They raise money off of this, and it helps him in his own race, right? That's essentially what's happening, right? That's what this dude is doing, okay? He's going to the oldest trick in the book, right? House Intelligence Committee ranking member Jim Hines asked whether Thanedar's efforts are being taken seriously by leadership, told Axios, quote, "I don't think so." Quote, there is a long way to go before the concept of impeachment is on the table, he added. Said House Judiciary Committee ranking member Jamie Ratkins, quote, the fact that people have withdrawn suggests people want to think it through. Collectively, the timing of it. Rep. Steve Cohen, a Democrat from Tennessee, who introduced rogue impeachment articles against Trump in 2017, told Axios there is, quote, no question he has committed impeachable offenses and a fair jury might convict him, but not a jury in the Senate. It's a big messaging piece. Privately, House Democrats are being far less conciliatory. Quote, this is a self-own that fundamentally undermines our capacity to continue to have a conversation with people we need to win over, one told Axios on the condition of anonymity. Said another House Democrat, quote, why would we do something that has failed twice as a strategy and yielded no electoral win? The guy got impeached twice. How did it work out for us? A third told Axios, quote, it seems self-serving and not a genuine effort to rein in the president. Many lawmakers speculated that there is a clear connection between the McKinley's run and the impeachment push. Others grumble about Thanedar's use of official congressional funds to pay for billboards in his district promoting his efforts, with one House Democrat saying that aspect has everyone upset. Yeah, so this guy is basically pissing off the Democrats, right? He's pissing off everybody because he's using his Trump arrangement, let's impeach Trump, which, by the way, the only reason he can get away with this is because the Democrats have radicalized their base. See, that's what I don't really understand about the Democrats. They're upset about this guy pushing for impeachment, but if they choose not to run on impeachment, basically what they're doing is that they're giving less motivation to their Trump deranged base to come out and to vote for Democrats, thinking that they can actually remove the president, right? The problem with them running on impeaching Trump is that they then put Trump on the ballot, giving Trump voters more of a reason, more motivation to come out and to vote for President Trump, right? So it's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. If Democrats decide that, you know what, we're not going to make the midterms about impeachment, we're not going to come out here and try to impeach the president, then they're essentially risking their base lashing out against them, backlashing against them because they're not doing enough, right? Because they've told their radicalized base that, well, Trump is Hitler. Trump is destroying the country, right? He's dismantling the government. He's taking away your Medicare, right? All of your benefits, right? This is what they have told their base, right? They've radicalized their base with this rhetoric that he is violating the Constitution, that this is a constitutional crisis. If this is a constitutional crisis, why would you not want to impeach the president? If he has broken laws, if he has done all these things that Democrats claim that he has done, and these are impeachable offenses, right? If we are living in Nazi Germany, how can you argue that he shouldn't be impeached? It doesn't make sense, right? But see, if they do try to make the midterms about impeachment, then now you're motivating President Trump's base to come out and vote because, oh, now President Trump is on the ballot, right? It's about keeping him in office, even though realistically they don't have a chance of actually really successfully impeaching the president and having him removed. Their base, okay, Democrats, their Trump deranged base, they're too dumb to know that, right? To understand that. So again, it's a really bad situation Democrats have put themselves in because of the fact that they don't have anything to offer outside of Trump derangement. That's it. And when all you have to offer is just Trump derangement, that puts you in really, really, really awkward situations. And this is one of them because Democrats are expected to be fighting Trump tooth and nail. If they're not fighting hard enough, then they get backlash from their radicalized base. So we're going to see how this works out. But as of right now, it looks like Democrats are very pissed off with this dude for this premature effort to impeach the president. It was Thanedar himself who intimated to colleagues that he had leadership backing the senior House Democrat and other Democratic aides familiar with the matter told Axios. Rep. Robin Kelly, quote, was under the impression that the resolution was drafted and reviewed by experts from the House Judiciary Committee when she originally signed on, a spokesperson told Axios. Another rep removed himself because he was made aware it was not cleared by Democratic leadership and not fully vetted legally, and he preferred to err on the side of caution, his spokesperson said. Leadership has made clear they don't support it. The senior lawmaker told Axios. A Democratic leadership aide echoed that sentiment, noting that the party is focused on other issues. Well, the only issues they're focused on is just more Trump derangement, right? That's what they're focused on, right? There's nothing else they're focused on outside of hating Trump. Then at our side, at least one colleague went to the measure after they merely indicated openness to supporting it down the road if it was picked up by more backers. A senior aide for that lawmaker and other House Democrat told Axios. Yeah, so I think we get it, right? Democrats are upset with this guy because he prematurely tried to push out this piece of legislation, right, to impeach the president. And like I told you guys, it is a bad move politically for Democrats to try to make the midterms about impeaching President Trump. First and foremost, it hasn't worked. They tried to impeach the guy twice. Okay, it didn't work. Okay, so it doesn't really work. Okay, it doesn't help Democrats win elections. They know that. But also on top of that, the problem is that if they don't try to make the midterms about impeaching the president, right? If they don't put in a serious effort to do it, then their radicalized base may turn on them and they may not feel motivated to come out and vote because they don't feel like Democrats are Trump deranged enough, right? They're not fighting hard enough against Hitler, okay? However, that would motivate more Trump supporters to get out and vote because Democrats are essentially putting President Trump on the ballot at that point. So again, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. The only way out of this is for Democrats to run on something outside of hating Trump. The problem is they don't have any good ideas. They don't stand for anything outside of hating Trump. And this is why they're in this situation. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.